All right, everybody, we are live. We are live in Jackson, Tennessee tonight, and I was hoping that Frances would be on here because we spent, a couple of hours with Frances today as well. Currently, her phone is going to voicemail, and her phone is not on. So I'm a little concerned about that because she was really wanted to be on this evening. So I hope that she's okay. So we'll swing by the house after we do the live tonight with this one. So hopefully she'll be able to log on, and we'll bring her into the story as well. So, Mike, thank you for being on tonight. Mike from Profiling Evil. We also have Mike
Thank
from
you.
Money Bottom Adventures, and we also have Bryson from Dive for Good. If you guys have never met these men before, we have Mike King with Profiling Evil. We have a couple of links in the description down below. In that the case that we're working in Jackson, Tennessee, is William Brian McKenzie. He goes by Brian. Is what his mom calls him and most of his friends. And this is a case that we've discussed over on Profiling Evil before, and so I have both of those live stream links down below for you, the viewers, and for Mike, for them to bring them up to speed with Mike. And with this case, Mike, this is one of those things to where, I just don't know, because we have a potential murder on this one, and for those of you that know that Sam and I don't take on murder cases, the thing about why we did accept this one is because there is a vehicle that is involved, as well as the person of interest is set up to serve 2 life sentences at this point, because Brian went missing on the 27th, and a couple days prior to that, a gentleman by the name of Keenan ended up shooting 2 people, and one of those people ended up dying. And then 2 weeks later, he shot 2 more people. Now, here we are in Jackson, Tennessee, and I do a lot of talking, so let me just kind of have Sam jump in here as to, we met with the chief of police. We also met with the volunteer dive team. And Dan, if you want to jump in here time as well, and kind of bring them up to speed as to kind of the overview of Keenan and Sean and the players in this, and Frances. And
so we were brought in here, and we met with the chief of police. We spent probably about an hour and a half with him, and he was just bringing us into the case, everything that they've done thus far. It was just absolutely amazing, the reception that we got from them, and the dumping of information. They held nothing back. They shared everything with us. The dive team and just everybody. It was just amazing how much information they gave us. It was the first time really working with the law enforcement on this level where they showed us their hand. They showed us everything. And so it was really just gave us a good understanding on where to look, where not to look, things that have already been searched. Some of the players or perhaps potential people involved. It was just really great to go into it with actual insight this time, instead of going in blind and figuring out as we go. It was fantastic. It was like, hey, we've done all this work here for like the last year. This is what we know. This is what we've done. They showed us maps. They've showed us all types of stuff. It was just really just amazing just to have that reception, that cooperation, and just being given all that information on the case.
Yeah, and something I thought that was really cool about this case is it's actually the precinct or the place we were getting all this information. These guys, it isn't actually within their region, this case, but do you remember exactly why they decided to take it on?
The reason for it is because part of Keenan, it was within their jurisdiction when the murders actually took place. However, with Brian missing, that is outside of their jurisdiction. But because Keenan may have been a person of interest and or is still a person of interest, that's why they've decided to go ahead and take this case on instead of the other jurisdictions outside of their jurisdiction. And so let's just kind of, go down who the players are in this. We have Brian, who is missing, who ended up leaving work, going over to Sean's house. Sean is a good friend of his. Brian had actually moved to town recently from California, whereas Sean has been in the area in Jackson, his entire life. He also had another friend that has kind of been in and out of the area, who is Keenan. So these are the 2 main players of the same age group. Yeah, in fact, we can hold some of this stuff up. Who is of the same age group with Brian. And now Frances is Brian's mom. And so this is Brian. We also have Frances's car that is missing that Brian drove on a regular basis. So let's just call this Brian's car, or we can call this Frances's car. So those are the four main players that we're going to be talking about this evening. Now, the reason why Keenan is of such interest, as I had mentioned, is because he shot two people a few days before Brian went missing. Then Brian goes missing. Now, 2 weeks later, a week or two later, Keenan shoots two more people. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing with this, we had, like I said, we were in there for an hour and a half speaking with the chief. And near the end, my straight question was, do we believe, or is Keenan still a person of interest on this one? Can never rule it out, Mike. But here's where we're at on it, is he says it doesn't fit his MO. His MO is that, he's just kind of a crazed person that does things in broad daylight and doesn't take the time to think about disposing of a vehicle, or moving a person, or, robbing them. It has to do with in the moment, shoots them, gets out of the vehicle, and simply walks away.
Yeah, very impulsive, not a technician. Just somebody who just acts off of emotion, and very blatant about the fact that he did after the fact, after doing it.
So in cop talk, we kind of look at this as, we call it an organized versus a disorganized personality type, and we see this in someone who's very organized. They're going to go in, things are well thought out, they're planned, they have an escape mechanism in place, they know how they're going to dispose of evidence, and then we have these disorganized criminals who really do react impulsively and jump to a decision. They fly off the handle, they commit some kind of crime. And then if you think back when you were kids and you're playing Army out in the front yard or something, if things didn't go the way you like it, you want to kind of yell, hey, do-overs, and let's try to fix it. Well, they can't fix it in a disorganized state. So they end up making a lot of mistakes that the police can pick up on. And so it's really interesting that these kinds of personality traits are starting to evolve. And I think it's kind of interesting because this particular offender that you've been talking about also was pretty open about what he had done and hadn't done. Isn't that right?
Oh, he was bragging.
Yeah, he was very braggy on it, just like almost like seemed like he was like proud of it. Like, yeah, I did that, so what type attitude.
Yeah, really interesting what you've uncovered there.
Which, you talk about the disorganized versus the organized. And the second case on October 4th, he literally was arrested after being caught walking away from the vehicle. So he says in his confession, that he, decided at some moment during this interaction with these people that this is when I knew I was going to shoot him. And then he would literally let the vehicle go and walk away. So,
yeah, that's interesting, Mike. So, Jared, we've talked about this before, but there's really three crime scenes that we think about when we look at a criminal case. We look at the initial contact site where two people come together, and sometimes the victim doesn't even know that initial contact happened, like in cases where there's a sexual assault in a home or something. But then you have the actual crime scene. And then the third crime scene is the disposal site, or the place in which his body is dumped in the case of a homicide. And the problem that we have to really consider here is, if you really do have someone who's disorganized and those crime scenes are occurring, number one, there would be something to suggest where they come together in time. And in Keenan's case, we know where they come together in time. So we know that piece of the puzzle. We don't know where, if there was a crime, and I don't know if I even know there was a crime at this point, but at this point where they have the crime, if in fact it was a homicide, that's messy business. And there's a lot of evidence left behind. But then if they dispose of a body and a vehicle, that's a ton of extra work. And so you look at the behaviors of this particular offender who just walks away from shooting people. That's his cleanup, is walk away and hope it never happened. And then you have something like this where someone disappears off the map. That's a whole different level of sophistication in my mind.
Yeah. So, and so before we talk more about Sean in this, I mean, let's kind of dive into, the additional bodies of water that we looked at today as well. Part of our meeting with the chief was also we had, the West Tennessee search and recovery dive team as well. I mean, they're kind of like the go-to throughout the mid and Midwest and West Tennessee. Incredible team that they've put together. They've been doing this for 10 years. They have 60 plus, recoveries under their belt. And with that, very open arms of, hey, you know what, here's where we have searched. I mean, here's what we've done with the ROV. Here's the depth of the water. Here's where we sonared. Here's what we found. And I mean, and looking at their stuff and their sonar and the stuff they do, I mean, these are very intelligent. If they said this is done with them, I don't have to be like, did you really do it? Like I can say for 100% without a doubt, Eric knows his stuff. His team knows their stuff. And so with that, it really helped us able to move through what we would normally come in and do with the help of the chief, with the help of the Tennessee dive team, because normally we start, okay, here's where the house is at. Now let's spread out from here for, where he was last seen. But now we know for sure, hey, Mike Bishop from, Muddy Bottom Adventures has been here. We have Bryson that's been in here and is searching from, Dive for Good. And both of their links are in the description down below. And let me give them an official introduction. They were with us all last week in Nashville. They're both from the Nashville area, helping us work on the Bill Simmons case. And, both of them were an integral part of the entire volunteer effort that took place over there. So that's who the two are. And, thank you, Mike and Bryson, for being here in Jackson with us as well today. So we have, Mike and Bryson who have been over here looking and following up on their own leads before the rest of this even opened up to us as to let's help you out so you're not wasting your time. And here are the bodies of water that have not yet been searched that we would appreciate your help because you have the smaller boat, you have the sonar, you have technology that's better than ours on the small boat to get in there. And in fact, even before we left Eric tonight, he said that would have taken us, another 2 to 3 months to finally get to with what we have. And he said, you guys cleared all of that within a couple of hours.
Within a couple hours, we did what they could do.
Fantastic, fellas.
Yeah. Now, with that, where does that leave the search when it comes to the water? And we'll talk more about the off-water search and some more stuff in the Players with Sean and stuff in a moment. But where does that leave the local bodies of water? Is it leaves us with one body of water only, which is a pig farm. I don't know why it always seems to be a pig farm that shows up in our searches.
We always get pig farms.
But there's a pig farm, and the chief actually went over there himself and knocked on the owner's door. Okay. Sam, why don't you take it from here? What happened when the chief went over there?
Yeah, so the chief showed up. And these people, they're a little advanced in age, and they were concerned that we were Russian spies trying to get on their property. And that was like, seriously, they thought that we were like some kind of Russian spies, and they didn't believe that it was actually the police, even though they were wearing their uniform. They actually called the sheriff on the police. And
even after the police chief showed them his credentials, then they called the sheriff to verify that was really not a Russian spy.
Yeah, but I got to admit, Sammy kind of looks like from The Hunt for Red October. He kind of looks like the captain. So the Rusky,
Anyway, so after that, me and the comrades, we all got together and came up with a plan.
So where does that leave this final piece of water in the area? It leaves us with, right now, we're not going to be in the area, but the good news is that the police chief, after he ended up not being arrested by the sheriff for not being a Russian spy, has coordinated that the children will be back in town in a couple of days, and they will work it out with the children to be on site at the moment in time they go up there.
So you still have a chance to dip in the well there.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes.
Good.
So with that, Mike and Bryson have been invited to come back with the West Tennessee dive team to actually all go up there together with the chief and search this body of water together. So that's the good news from all of it, that by Friday or Saturday, we're going to have final answers as to all of these suspected bodies of water within the Jackson area.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. So where does that now leave, Sean? Let's talk about Sean, and then we'll talk about some additional phone pings. I mean, we covered a whole lot of stuff with the chief. Sean. So Sean is the friend who, they go over there. They toke up all the time. Is the reason, what do they call them? Do they call them potheads, or what do they call? What did the chief actually call?
Dope. Dopers.
Dopers. Okay. So anyway, so they normally go over to Sean's house.
It's a technical term. The more you deal with my profession, you'll understand these things. It takes years of education to figure that one out.
Urban Dictionary.
Okay. All right. So anyway, so they frequent Sean's house quite a bit, hanging out there. Now Sean has been questioned on multiple occasions now, with multiple interviews, and I guess that within your field, Mike, you guys like to do interviews and then do follow-up interviews and then do follow-up interviews and let time pass to see if the story is consistent.
Correct.
Okay. And so each time that each time that Sean was interviewed, the story was consistent every single time. And he also, ended up with a polygraph test. There's somebody named Sean on here. Sean, is this you? No, I'm just kidding.
Jared, can I clarify real quick?
Yes.
So Sean was actually polygraphed twice.
Okay.
His initial interview was different than he finally came out with the real information in a second interview. And that's when they did a second polygraph, because he failed the first one and then was interviewed again. And that's when the real story came out. One of the major hinges there was that he said when they left, they went this way, when in all actuality, they went this way. Does that make sense? So then they polygraphed him again and he passed. So his story changed. And then they interviewed him 6 months or so later, and that story was consistent with the second story that he told.
Okay. And then what was consistent, within the story and the polygraph is that according to the polygraph, now we spoke with Frances, we were with her today, is that in Sean's story, he has nothing to do with Brian's disappearance. The polygraph also confirms that he had nothing to do with Brian's disappearance. Frances does not believe this. In her heart, she believes that Sean has something, or that Sean knows something about this. So that's where that one is at.
Yeah.
So right now, as my understanding, Sean is no longer a person of interest when it comes to local law enforcement. That's, with the multiple interviews, with the polygraph, with all of that, and the timelines and phone logs. In fact, there was even the phone log of Sean not even leaving the house during this period of time, and his phone being used and proper text messages. And I mean, the detail, holy moly, Mike. When some families feel like things are not being done behind the scenes, I can say that I have never been as entrenched with the amount of information that this department shared with us that shows the extent that they have gone to on this case to rule out as much as they can for Frances and her family. And by that, what I mean is the phone logs from Sean, the phone logs from Keenan, the phone logs from Brian's phone, the, where things were pinging at, who was at a certain location at a certain time, and the number of messages. And it's not just the cell phone, but I didn't know this, Mike, and you will, I'm sure, is that you have like each cell phone actually uses 3 different types of towers and pings.
Yeah. In fact, would you like a quick lesson on that for your listeners?
Yes.
100%. Yes.
So actually it's a process called triangulation, and I'm going to just pop something up because I spent an extensive amount of time looking into those phone records. And I don't know, you might be interested in this. Can you see this screen?
Yep. Let me bring it up for you.
There you go. So these are those phone records and those phone calls. And what I've done in here is I've gone in and I've isolated them down so that I can see just calls that came into Frances, that went out from Frances, who she was talking to, whether they were text messages, whether they were something else. I can see the relationships of those people involved. So I can see Brian pinging his brother or Francis, and I just wrote first names, Poe and Justin and others. And as I look at those, I could go in and start to understand day by day what really was happening. So I could see how those calls started escalating as we went through the week and who he was talking to. And then how when Saturday morning comes after this event's over, how everything just kind of drops off the map and there's nothing happening. Now, I'm only saying that, and I'll just quit sharing that for a moment to go back to what I'm saying is there's two processes that are used in this. The first is triangulation, like the police department explained to you. And what happens is the phone, when you make a phone call, it looks at the 3 nearest cell phone towers, and then it uses those, and the nearest sometimes is a little confusing because it could be one that's a little further out but has, because of line of sight, a more powerful signal, but it uses that to triangulate. So when you look on your phone and you see the blue circle and it says you're somewhere in this area, that's called a certainty range. And there's a vertical certainty range and a horizontal certainty range that we look for to tell us the movement of that individual. But in 911 centers, what they have is this ability to do what's called a rebid, where you send back a ping and you get the actual device location, which is so much better than that big circle. It can actually get us down to about a 10-foot to 30-foot radius where we can see where that individual is. So we have technology now, and of course, we always talk GIS when you talk to me, but we have technology that will allow us to actually see the pathways in which people go. So now I want to hear the rest of your story, but that's the science behind it. And I think just for your listeners to see, I mean, we between Adventures with Purpose and Profiling Evil and Muddy Bottom, we dumped a lot of resources into trying to understand this, and of course, it's available to law enforcement if they want it. But now I want to hear the rest of your story.
So yeah, and with that also, can you also touch on the data that's separate from the voice?
Yeah, so you have voice, as everybody knows, you're paying for it every month, and then you have data streams. And once that voice stuff stopped, there was still data stuff coming in, and there was, I think, one ping that went out that was kind of at an odd time. But then we're learning, and this is maybe what we can talk about, we're learning that there was a little more activity that we didn't necessarily have initially.
Yeah, and so with that new information as to we didn't have initially, what you're referencing, I think, is the one little blip that doesn't even show up on actual cell phone records. It showed up only because the chief actually put a tracer on the phone that AT&T pings it like every 15 minutes to find out if there's any activity at all. And that happened over in Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville, yeah.
Do you know anything about that, Mike, or is this new information for you tonight?
No. This is something you told me earlier in the day that was really intriguing. And so what you start to do is you look at what the artifact is that really happened. Was it actually that phone was turned on for just a brief moment? And I'll let you maybe drop the hammer on what we really think it was.
Yeah, I think they were swapping. In my opinion, I think they were swapping out a SIM card or something.
Yeah.
Maybe they turn on the phone to to do that.
Well, the only contention I have with that is it was an iPhone. They don't have SIM cards.
No, they don't.
Is that right?
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah. They've had SIM cards for.
I've got SIM cards in my iPhones. Yeah, Mike, I'm not sure. Maybe.
Let's open one up.
Did you have
especially newer ones? I think, but one of the interesting things there is there's still
there's a little hole and it comes out.
Yeah.
Because here's
right
the
here.
thing. Guess what? because we found iPhones in rivers before and lakes, and when the phone is actually toast, we can take that SIM card out. We can pop it into our phone, Mike, and then we're actually able to turn the phone on
and get theirs. Yep.
And see what that phone number was, and then pop it back out and then call them and see if they still have an active that phone number active for them.
Really, the beauty of these new phones, isn't it, is they can be underwater up to 30 feet, and you can still recover content from them. But I wanted to just add, Sam, to that. There's a mobile phone identification number. And the old days, we used to have to go into the phone store when we changed from one provider to another. Now they can actually see that device number. So even if the SIM card changes, the phone device information is still embedded. So that chief was smart as could be, and they use this technology when they're looking for stolen phones to be able to get those pings. And so this is a real mystery that will be interesting to see if it's ever solved, is how that single ping happened and why it was only a single. Was it a weird anomaly in the software? I don't know.
Yeah. And so, Mike, there's SIM cards in the phone. There's no SD cards though. So are you thinking about SD card instead of SIM card?
No, I don't.
Okay.
My phone, but I don't have a slot for anything anywhere.
Okay. All right, no worries.
Have old technology. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta silence my phone. It's going up.
Yeah, I gotta silence mine too.
Yeah.
We were in a group chat. We're both getting the same messages.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll talk to you soon, Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony. Go away right now, Anthony.
There was one other thing, Jared, I wanted to mention, and you may have gotten some additional information on this, but I had a contact of ours, Michelle Morris. This is a lawyer who has access to the national database for all LPR data, which LPR is license plate recognition data. And I thought it was really interesting and something that we need to make sure that we have a frank discussion with Francis about. And that was that the last time that vehicle plate was seen in any kind of urban setting in the United States was just a few weeks before Brian disappeared. And so for now a year and a half, that plate has never been seen anywhere. So there's been either a conscious effort to remove the plate, or that vehicle's just disappeared off of the map, which then goes back to why you do what you do.
Which then takes us to right now the most logical and the only property that's not been searched yet is the pig farm, which is the one and only piece of property that is between Sean's house and the Knight's Inn. Now, to bring everybody up to speed, as to some people were saying, hey, what's more of the backstory on this one? Brian left work. He went over to Dollar General. He went to the gas station. Then he went down to do some dope at Sean's house. Brian then gave Keenan a ride, left Sean's house, and we don't know where they ended up going after that. What we do know is that about an hour and a half later, Keenan checked into his hotel room over the Knight's Inn. So we have roughly a 1.5 hour period to where, from them leaving Sean's house to Keenan returning. Now, Keenan says that, he got out about 300 yards down the road and then went on his own way. But here we are. We have this one single piece of pond property that is in question right now. So that's kind of the short version of all this for you. If you want the big, long, extended version, please, in the description down below, go over and watch both of the live streams that we did with Profiling Evil with Francis, and that's really going to give you all the details on this one. This one right here today is to bring you up to speed as to our search here in town and what we found. So with that, as Mike had mentioned, is, with the LPR, license plate reader, the vehicle has not been spotted since August 27th, which then what does that mean? What Mike just asked. For us, that's why we come into this, because it's like, if it's not been spotted anywhere, then what's the most logical? It's got to be underwater somewhere, or hidden somewhere, or scrapped. And
or scrapped, yeah.
I guess
Louisville.
Yeah. Well, and let me ask you that, Mike. In the cases that you worked over the years, how often do you find that these things end up being stripped in a chop shop and underwater? Kind of a percentage breakdown. Are you kind of able to give.
I don't think I would be in a position to ever give a breakdown percentage wise, but the bottom line is, how many end up in a chop shop if it's abandoned somewhere and the VIN hasn't ended up on a stolen list yet or put into NCIC, which is the National Crime Information Center, and somehow slips through the cracks. It could be in a junkyard somewhere and long gone. You drive down any country road and you see cars that have been sitting out in the middle of a field for 20 or 30 years. You go up in the mountains and you see one, and everybody keeps thinking, oh, somebody must own it. So there could be a very logical explanation of why it's sitting somewhere and nobody's ever discovered it, or it could have been hidden. But again, go back to that earlier discussion on organized versus disorganized. That's a big job to hide something like that, chop it up and get rid of it. If you're the disorganized guy. Now, if in fact there are any legs to the fact that maybe he did go to Louisville or somewhere else, certainly swapping out a plate or something, you could get by for a long, long time without the right plate on. And I don't know if I'm the only guy that's still on live right now, Mike. Is it just you and me?
No, I think we're hanging out. Yeah, it's just us.
Yeah. So I think I mean the important thing on that, and I'll tell you, Jared and Sam have been so instrumental in doing something really important, and that's breaking the barrier to get into the police department. And hopefully this will resonate to other law enforcement agencies all across the country, that it is better to work with you guys than to work individually. Oh, I've been carrying your show, but I had all of your subs transfer over to Profiling Evil, and and Sam, I'm ahead of you now. It just is the weirdest thing happened in the last little 10 minutes.
Oh, geez, here we go.
No, I'm not ahead of you. You're still killing me.
That's really that we ended up dropping service. We didn't lose the show, and so we're using StreamYard. And I'm going to give a big shout out to StreamYard. Like, I am 100% impressed that this show did not stop because we disappeared.
Thank you, Dan.
Yes.
Hey, guys, I know you're getting close to the to throwing me off the island here, but I also wanted to bring up something else. You asked me, Jared, to kind of dig into the insurance side of this. I'm prepared to talk about that if you'd like to.
Yes, let's jump on that real quick, because I wish that Frances was here. Because there's a few things we need to do for her. Right now, in the description down below, we have a GoFundMe link for Frances, because we're going to talk about the insurance right now. So keep that in mind and use the link, please, to help Frances out. And one of the things, before you start talking about this, the information I want you to know, that we just, before we started this, within 20 minutes of leaving Frances, before we did, she thought that if she quit paying her insurance, that if the vehicle was pulled over, that she would not get notified from her insurance company that the vehicle was stopped. Meaning, she thought that the police and the insurance company would notify her, or the insurance company would notify her if her car ever got stopped.
Or if someone tried to register. That was her major concern.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I don't know. You done with your comment there? You want me to?
No, and there's two more things I want to touch on. Sorry, Dan's putting clothes away.
Yeah. Does Dan know we're on a live show in front of thousands of people?
So,
Wolfgang.
but here's the other thing that we need to help her with as well is, we've kind of touched on this before on your show, Mike, is that she believes that, or she's been advised that this is all one case together. The vehicle that's missing is also the same case of Brian. And so because of that, she has not reported the vehicle stolen, because now she believes that there's going to be two cases, and that the entire trying to find Brian kind of starts over. And so let me just have you, from your side of it, dive into this.
Yeah, thank you. So here's my perspective. First and foremost, she has been paying for 1.5 years on a vehicle that she probably should have reported stolen at the very beginning. it wouldn't change the fact that law enforcement would notify her if that vehicle was ever recovered, because it's tied to him and his missing persons case. And and so the insurance company may not, but the police department definitely would. It couldn't be re-registered because it's going to be on the national crime computer with the vehicle identification number. So someone couldn't just go out and do that. They would have to alter that VIN number, and that again takes a lot of effort. So the amount of money that she spent in that amount of time, the other concern that Frances had was that she wouldn't get the insurance payout if the car was ever found or anything like that. Well, in reality, when I talked to the insurance agencies, she would get paid for the stolen vehicle on her insurance. Then she could cash out, use that money to continue to look or to get another vehicle for the family, because that's certainly a problem that they are facing. But it wouldn't change the fact that if that vehicle's located, that local police department wouldn't be notified. If the fear is, Jared, that he might get arrested driving it, wouldn't that be awesome if he did get arrested driving that stolen vehicle? Because then we'd know that kid's alive, and then they could sort out all of the misunderstanding in between. So I guess what I would like you to do, since I can't speak to Frances directly tonight, is encourage her that she get with the police department, that they file that as stolen. That forces the hand that Brian disappeared, and it's weird that he would disappear for anything other than a really nefarious reason, and maybe helps them in continuing to pursue this case and ask for public support. But we need to get that money back in Frances's hand. And not only that, back insurance that she's paid, but the value of that vehicle. By reporting it stolen and it's never been recovered, the insurance company should pay her out. And frankly, it's probably not worth much. They're going to give her low book on that vehicle, but still she needs to get out from under that debt and know that that vehicle's still going to be tracked on the national crime computers. That there might be an emotional reason why she doesn't want to do that in part. I mean, imagine how hard that would be to admit that maybe he and the vehicle are separated, and then that raises the concern of whether she might find Brian alive at some point. Those are the really difficult realities of the decision point she's in. But I think it's time, and I think you had some conversation with the police department. I don't think the police department is at all against changing that. And then we go back, and just a few months ago, I bought a new pickup truck, and they forgot to take my old pickup truck off of my insurance. So I've been paying for a year on a truck that I haven't owned. They just went back and reversed it and gave me the money, and it was over with. I think these insurance companies are honorable enough that they do that. If they're not, we need to make sure that everyone knows what insurance company won't help her.
Right. So, and so with that, in this process, please understand this of, Frances and Brian were both working at Denny's. Hardworking mama is what she is. And she's taken a lot of time off. She's down every single weekend, every moment she gets. I mean, she has a little orange that she wears that says search team on it, I think is what it says on the back of it, And not only is she searching, but while she's out there also, she has like this little rake in her hand that she's also cleaning up the environment at the same time.
Yeah.
That she's, cares. I mean, what does she say? She says, the only thing I want is I just want my son back. I want my son back. And, and she's spending every moment that she can. So with this one, what we're asking of you, you guys have been very generous, over the course of time with us. And if by chance you can help her out at all, we do hope that the insurance company, once she reports this as stolen, will honor that for her and reverse those charges that this vehicle has been gone and stolen for, or missing for. We're going to call it stolen, since September of last year, or 2019 is, so it's not just 2020.
A lot of premiums, especially on a younger driver. She's paid a lot of money.
Yeah. So she's been paying for, that's 16 months now, 17 months, 18 months that she's been paying on a vehicle has not been in her possession. In addition to that, that's left them down a vehicle. And during the course of this also, I don't know if she was let go or if she had to quit or what the reason was, but she's no longer working at Denny's, and she ended up needing to find another job through all of this. So I told her, let's put the word out. Mike's going to put the word out on his, on his information and his streams. We're putting the word out as well that, if you can, please do step up. Her GoFundMe link is in the description below, and we know that those funds will be used for covering those insurance premiums, helping her get another vehicle, and helping with the burden that she currently has with, being that hardworking mama that she is, looking for her son. So we thank you on that one. Mike, I know that your wife has been really patient with us tonight. I know that you have to get going, and we can wrap this up on our own. Before you do, one is I would like to mention, your book that's sitting on my bed that I just had time. Go grab my book real quick.
I can't believe you're not through that. You haven't been doing anything. And by the way, I'll tell you what, you fellas, I am just so proud of you and so grateful. What you've done for Bill Simmons' family and recovering him is just fantastic. So just know how much on the Profiling Evil side, how much we think of you guys.
Yeah, it's laying right there on my bed.
On the bed?
Yeah. So anyway, talk about your book while we're looking at the book, and we'll show you a little book. And then,
hey everybody, please, consider getting this book. You can get it at profilingevil.com. It's a book about an investigation I did 30 years ago. It took me 30 years to get the courage to write the story. It was about a ritual child sexual abuse cult. It doesn't go into the disgusting sides of this case, but it talks about the children, 32 of them, that we rescued out of this group of over 100 people. And those children, 30 years later, I brought them all back together to talk about how their lives have been. And the story is about their individual conquests over the challenges they faced, literally hundreds and hundreds of sexual assaults each that they endured. These are amazing kids. And so that's so kind you do that, Jared. Thank you so much.
And this is a one of a kind. Mike actually signed it for me. And Sam has his own.
Yep.
And Dan has his own. Wait, did Dan get one?
It's on the way.
I don't know, but that page looks as white as can be from here. It doesn't look like anything was signed on it.
No,
But
it's real. It's real. It's legit. There's like.
Oh, there you go. As you get closer, you can actually see it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So,
yeah.
Mike, is there anything else? I mean, we need to continue to help Frances.
Absolutely, we do.
The other thing, we need to put out a plea to help, preferably pro bono on this, so she's not using these GoFundMe funds. Who do we have in the Jackson area, and what is it and who is it that we're looking for, Mike, that we need to raise awareness and put out hey, can you please help and contact Frances with this to help her out in what way from the legal side?
I think Frances needs two things. One, and now that we have this relationship with the police department, maybe this can be repaired, Jared, but she needs to have someone at the police department that can give her regular updates to just let her know that Brian hasn't been forgotten and just keep up to date on that. I think another person that would be helpful is for that community. Maybe it's the churches, maybe it's the civic groups, to rally around her and give her some support in her searches. And that combined with the police department, they can start to check off areas by sending out those who want to volunteer and go out. People just want to know that they're doing what they can to help. And I think if we had someone that could kind of offload her from just the organizational skills, that would be just a huge thing and a huge burden off of her shoulders. So that's the plea, is reach out to her and give her the help that she needs.
Okay. Okay. So where should we send people? Let's send them to your interview room on that one. So two things. One is, because I don't want to handle any of this because there's no way, because I have so many emails, Mike. So I know that you have really been working with Frances.
I think what he's saying, Sam, is I'm not as busy as he is.
So two things. One is in the link down below, or if you remember profilingevil.com. One is you can find Mike's book, but you can also make him work for being here on the show tonight as well and helping us out by what is the actual name of your
go to profilingevil.com and click on the link for the evidence room, and in there you can put a message and say that you're working on the Mackenzie case and that you want to volunteer to help her, and then we'll get a list together and we'll put it over into Frances's hand, and then together you all can figure out how to best put that together.
This is why I like having Mike on the team.
Oh yeah,
because we get to do less work with him being here.
Yeah, so. I haven't figured it out yet. But it's going to all be paid off because when you come to town, you're going to be spending the night in jail, and we'll just make that all work out better. So
I don't think that everybody knows about that.
Yeah, people don't know about that.
Yes.
oh, okay.
Who would like?
We're not going to say anything more then.
Yes.
Too late.
Who would
You
like to
spilled the
see
beans.
Sam and I go to Utah and we would spend 24 hours in jail? And there's going to be we're not going to tell you what it is yet, but there's a purpose behind this. It's a fundraising purpose, and it's not happening like right away. So save your pennies. Just knowing that we're going to need to be bailed out.
Yeah, we need to be bailed out.
Yes, 24 hours.
And the bell's going to be high.
Yes. And you guys have seen Sam drive a fire truck. Guess what else he will get to drive when we go to Utah?
An MRAP.
And we
Can't believe the sheriff gave that up like that.
Yeah. He gave it up easy too.
Yes.
He was like, "Yeah, come drive my MRAP."
and tell and I don't know, you haven't officially confirmed this little the other stuff you were talking about, but there's like a police training city and
I heard something about helicopters or something. I heard something.
Yeah, if you've seen the Hogan's Alley at the FBI Academy and on all the movies where they go through and there's a hot house, yeah, they've got an incredible center where the law enforcement officers and the SWAT teams in the area, in fact, all across the Western United States, they book this place out to go in and do training. So we'll sneak you guys in and see if we can get you shooting a few guns or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna start exercising now so I can get ready to play.
Can you get some military grade paintballs?
I think we can use like high-powered beanbags.
Yeah.
You get a shot of those.
No, you don't.
Yep. So don't worry. Sam and I are going to get rid of both the other three in a moment. We're going to have a direct conversation with you guys, answer some additional questions of what's been happening the last couple of days. You guys saw the candlelight vigil last night. So Mike King.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for being here from Profiling Evil. We're going to, you're going to be working more on this case, and with the evidence room, please, if any of you are an attorney in the house that would like to help out Francis, please reach out to Mike over there at Profiling Evil. What was the room again? I just forget.
Evidence room.
Evidence room. Yes, sir.
Evidence room.
Thank you for that. Yep. All right. I'm going to dump
Thanks,
you.
fellas.
All right.
I will see you later, Mike.
Enjoy date night. Thank you for giving up and tell your wife. Thank you.
This is date night, Mike, and you're talking to us?
Yeah. It shows my messed up value system, doesn't it?
I will see you later,
by the way,
Mike.
I want to say it one more time. I am proud of you guys.
I'm going to make him go away right now. Now he's gone.
Wow, he was hanging out with us on date night.
Thanks, Mike.
Oh, man.
So we're going to answer more of your questions. Let's wrap up with these two as well. Oh, did they just freeze? No, they're still there. Uh-oh, she didn't have a password on. Oh, Francis.
We just got a message from Francis.
Yeah, she says, I didn't have a password on my iPad. There was no password for. Oh, she didn't have a password to open her iPad.
I see. So she didn't remember how to get into her iPad.
I hope that she comes on.
Yeah, I heard something.
Are you available to come right now? Question mark. Did you find the password? Question mark.
All right, let's see what Francis says.
Okay. If not, we'll bring her up to speed and we'll make sure that we pass on the love from everybody here. So, Mike, if for some reason she does come back on, we'll bring you back in. If not, then we'd like to say thank you to both of you. It was great that we officially got to meet both of you in person. We've been having these back and forth conversations, and you guys were a very big integral part in Nashville. That Mike, you initially came on after you saw our first video, and
says Sam, the wrong GoFundMe is posted.
Which one is posted?
What GoFundMe do we have posted right now? If the mods can let us know. I got a message saying that we have posted the wrong GoFundMe.
Which one is posted?
What Go? Give us just a moment. We're gonna go ahead and.
Oh,
okay. No.
So I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. We're actually have the wrong GoFundMe posted right now. We're going to correct that as soon as we can. I think Jared might be trying to correct that now.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for catching that for us. Yeah, really appreciate that.
Mike, can you resend that over to me right now, or can somebody?
Yeah, I don't know how that happened because I've got the one pulled up that I sent you, and this is definitely.
Yeah, so the GoFundMe we have on there right now is by mistake. It's the one for Bill Simmons. It's actually not supposed to be for Bill Simmons. Supposed to be for Francis.
For Francis, so yeah, let's get the right one.
So thank you so much for bringing that to our attention.
Can some, here,
Double check this because I literally copied it from the website. So make sure it's this. I mean, it says William Brian McKenzie. So,
all right. So give us just a moment while we're fixing it now. Thank you guys so much.
Real quick.
Jared did the copy. Now he's going to open it up and do the pasty paste.
That means I got to fix the other one.
Yeah.
Hey, look at the answer some questions.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
while
he's fixing this, let's go ahead and ask some
and
some
questions. Francis might still be coming on. We're trying to get
we're trying to get a hold of Francis, and we're going to answer some questions while Jared's getting this fixed here. And thank you guys so much for bringing that to our attention. I really, really appreciate that. And what do we have here for questions? Yep, fixing the GoFundMe now. We are fixing the GoFundMe right now. Do you have plans on coming to Mississippi?
No Mississippi.
No Mississippi this time. Let's see. So, any other questions? There we go. How long did you use your cardboard boat?
Yeah, I used my cardboard boat until it wouldn't float anymore. I actually got to use it twice. The first time was when I went with Griffin, and then the second time was when I took my mother out on the boat, and then it started to leak so bad that I couldn't use it anymore because it got wet.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yes.
Let's see, what else do we got here? Any other questions?
All right, so I was able to fix the YouTube one. The Facebook one I have to fix after we're done over there. So if you're on Facebook, I apologize. The proper link will be updated shortly. So, all right.
Back in business here on YouTube, I think.
Mike has a question.
Yeah, I saw there's a few people who obviously donated to the Bill Simmons Memorial Fund, asking how they can get their money back because they wanted to donate to Francis. Honestly, I will help take care of that because you can't issue a refund. So I will go back through the chats and hopefully be able to connect to anybody who, accidentally donated to the wrong GoFundMe.
Yes. Yeah, and I guess I would, So yes, make a note of it or somehow let them know because we know that Christy is incredible and that Mike is, we'll make sure that Christy is aware of that, and they will make sure that the funds are bounced over to this appropriate fundraiser. So Mike, if you can just have Christy make like a public donation here, I guess that will like help with everybody knowing that that was sent to the right place. Okay. Does that sound the best way?
Sure.
All right, cool. All right. On that note, if for some reason Francis comes on, do bump back on here. But if not, we're going to go ahead and bounce you guys for now. So thank you again. It was great meeting you guys. And we are leaving Tennessee tonight, heading to Missouri. So
nice to meet you guys. Good working with you.
Be good.
Thanks, guys. So where does that leave us now? That leaves us with we have a long road trip ahead of us still. We are not even 2 weeks into this on a 30+ days of being gone. Actually, we're coming up almost on 2 weeks now. We're going to be home on February 12th is when we're going to be home. And we have so many more cases. In fact, let me just kind of give you the rundown. And instead of me going down the list, I'm going to kind of bounce them around so people can't figure out our schedule.
Where we're at. Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Yes. Great. And it's not that we don't want to meet up with any of you. It's just that we are so efficient not meeting up with you.
He didn't mean it like that. He says we got a lot of work that needs to be done and we have to get straight to business. We love you guys. But,
yes.
but you get it. I'm sure you do.
No, I really love that everybody, was able to come out and participate and, in Nashville that could make it. And that, we had a lot of volunteers and support. And that at the very end of all of it, Bill was able to be brought home.
Yes.
So thank you for all that. With that, let me start telling you our schedule here. I'm going to lie about our schedule, but I'm going to tell you our schedule.
Yeah.
Sort of. I do want to also thank you. I mean, as you guys know, we are 100%, funded from the dollars that come in on YouTube and Facebook with the monetization money that we then take out of our pocket and we reinvest it in allowing us to be out here on the road, as well as direct donations we have some that came in this evening, and I can't see all of them, but the ones I can currently see, Joe, thank you very much for, a donation there. Thank you. Oh, Joe did it twice. Thank you, Joe. We have a new member, Kelly. Our way of saying thank you, and one of the only ways of, that we can say thank you for those of you who become members, is for us to provide videos early. So currently we have the Mustang that we found while we were looking for Bill and Mary Black up in Atchison, Kansas. And then Dan.
Rockabye Daniel and the RV.
He stays so busy helping us out. We've definitely worn him out. Anyway, he is working on some additional videos, and he's going to have them out, and we'll release those to members early as well. And then every video that we put up does eventually become available to everybody. So we appreciate your understanding for this is our only way to say thank you to the members that have reached into the pocket. Now we understand that not everybody can. So, the shares, the thank yous, the likes, the comments, that all helps us. So really thank you very much on that one. I'll say thank you to a few more, and 3 more, and then we're going to jump into our schedule and kind of give you a rundown as to what was coming up. So thank you to J3B. Man, he's been with me for like almost since the J3B. Wow. Give me a note down below. How many subscribers did I have when you started watching what we were doing? I know you've been here for like years, so thank you for that. New member Sheila, thank you very much. New member Becky, thank you very much. And thank you to the digital world. I found my purpose. I bought a boat and sonar, and I'm joining the search.
Nice.
A movement is taking place. So thank you very much for that. I think we should. Who wants to look at Dan again? Okay. All right. Back to the schedule. And if you want more Dan, just let me know, because he's sleeping. He doesn't even know. All right. Our schedule.
And he probably won't, because he's not going to watch this.
All right. So coming up on our trip, so we've already done this. We're currently in Jackson, Tennessee, is where we're at right now. We are going to be. We might have to scratch Memphis, because we ended up staying an extra day in Nashville. So we have somewhere that we have to scratch today. I think it's going to be Memphis, which was supposed to be Samantha Hopper. So, I mean, the Samantha Hopper also had an 18-month-old daughter, and she was 8 months pregnant. So, but we also have Deborah Jean Vaughn in Gears Ferry, but I think we're meeting up with their family there. So I don't think if we're not meeting up with the family, we can bump one of those two. So should we look for to
do at a later date?
To do at a later date. So if we are able to, we're not going to be able to do all of them. So we have to drop one. So would you prefer that we go look for Samantha Hopper with an 18-month-old daughter, and she was 8 months pregnant, or Deborah Jean Vaughn? But I can only scratch Deborah Jean if by chance I have to look at my notes. We're not meeting up with her family. So let me know in the comment section down below on that one. Sam, pay attention to that one while I'm looking through here. Some other things that we're going to be doing is Odessa, Texas, looking for Jordan Marie Lux. We have Houston, Texas, where we're going to be in the bayous.
Yes.
Possible alligators.
Yes.
Hitting up some locations that Team Waters is sending us to and has made mention of. 3 days in Houston. That one, maybe if you have a boat and you are familiar with the bayous, that is probably the only way that you're going to be able to please reach out to us to volunteer. Because again, when we're doing stuff, we've learned a few things along the way with our 2020 road trip, as well as the Nashville and everything else. Is sometimes we have like the event, we can do an open, hey, please come join us for everything. And other times we can't. So if you're in the Houston area, please reach out to me if you have a special skill that's going to help us. Offers of food and everything else, we appreciate that. But honestly, if we go track those down, it does slow us down. And we've had some incredible offers also of hotel stays. So we prefer to stay in the RV, because that way all of our gear is there, and we are much more efficient that way as well. I'm not going to be able to say thank you to everybody.
So far, everyone's saying, it seems to be unanimous, Samantha. they want us to do the Samantha case.
Go for Samantha. Okay, we will as long
We'll
as
have to-
as long as I didn't promise.
Yeah,
the
we'll
Vaughn
have
family,
to look at that.
then we'll do Samantha and drop
Mhm.
and drop the other one for now on this trip. So that's what I have going on. Josie, thank you very much for becoming a new member. Jen also. Sid, thank you. All new members. Thank you, Joe. I am in Kingwood. Hit me up for the Houston. I can help. Do you have a boat? Send me an email. So I don't know how to hit you up on here. So send me an email. If you are in the Houston area and you know the bayous, we need a tour guide to get us to the property. Not a tour guide. Like, don't show us the city. We want, our purpose. So that's what we're after. Some additional things we have coming up. We have, this is the one that Sam is really excited about. Sam?
Oh yeah, this is some outer space stuff. I mean, scuba diving for space shuttle parts. How wild is that?
Yes.
I mean, that's
So while we're
That's
on
cool.
this trip looking into working cold cases, we do also try to fit in a day or two of fun as well. Which, speaking of fun, we're also going to be with your father.
yeah. We're gonna be staying at my dad's place.
Yeah.
A little bit when we're in Texas and seeing some of my family. Some of my family's gonna come out. I have a lot of family in Texas.
And so we're going to be in the Fort Worth area and Weatherford. And so we're going to be working a couple cases in that area. And then on this entire trip with the 30 plus days, we're taking 1 day off to actually dedicate to your family.
Yeah, it says day off with Sam's family.
Yep. Don't say what day it is though.
Nope.
Yep. But that's in the Fort Worth area. Hot Cove and Kilgore. We're also going to be around looking for Carrie May Parker. By the way, I have a note to reach out to one of her family members. So if you're watching this, I've not forgot about you. I remind me I need to call her. Also, Rosemary Rodriguez. We'll meet up with her daughter as well. So I really like that we're able to bring the family, whenever we can bring the families into it, to have them. I really like it when the families are side by side with us throughout the day. I like those so much more than families that may not want to be involved at all, or families that don't even know that we're coming and doing this. So if you ever catch wind that we are coming into town and this is your family, and don't just make it up like, hey, this is my family. Don't make that up if it's not really your family, okay? Because I'll find out and then I'll be mad and then I'll tell everybody around the world what a big liar you are. Good evidence. Oh, so that's that one. What else do we have? So we have, we're going back also to Grandma Barbara Stauffer. We have new information as to her and her sister. Her sister since passed away. They owned a bunch of farm property, but we learned more about her route that she would take, along the Missouri River, over to New Pharma, over to, New Madrid, and how she would check on the properties and her love for water. And so we have a couple of places that Team Waters was part of the initial search for her, but at that time they couldn't get into one or two bodies of water as well. And so we're going to go check out those bodies of water. And then we also have Stephen Adams in Oklahoma and Molly Miller and Colt Hayes. Now, I'll tell you about the change that we're seeing out here is that we're seeing more agencies are now reaching out to us, that they're more aware of who we are. And we are mentioning some of these cases that we have coming up that we're looking into. That with Stephen Adams, his father is aware of our arrival. The DA is aware of our arrival, and the DA actually wants to meet with us. And so we're making that arrangement to meet with the DA for Stephen Adams, but also another cold case that's over there in 10 Killer Lake. So we have those coming up. We kind of plan on working on the Fort Worth Trio case. However, Rusty has not gotten back a hold of us. So if anybody's in contact with Rusty, the brother, make sure he gets hold of me like right away, because we're so close to being in the Fort Worth area that we would really like to, work with him on that one. Let's see. I'll take some questions as well. Thank you, Katrina, for becoming a member. If I miss anybody, I really apologize. Bex, new member, thank you very much. Joe, my dad is retired Sergeant HPD, and I am EMS in the area. Talking with Sam now. Joe's talking with you.
Yes. All right, let's talk, Joe.
Yep.
Let me see what you got to say.
Mr. Henry, thank you also for your donation. Let me see what other questions I have. No Houston and hey guys, you're Memphis. Hey guys from Memphis here, and I can't believe that I haven't heard of this case. So much respect. Any updates on Randy? Yes, we have a lot of updates on Randy. We have 5 videos that are coming out. We're dropping one of the interviews this week that we had with. In fact, she's on tonight. Leanne is on. I saw her in here.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Judy Riley. Also, she was. If you guys saw her on the live stream, she was in Nashville with us. Her and her family. In fact, I even got up on some of the cars, and we were bouncing on the cars
car to car,
with her kids and the cousins and the kids.
Oh, they had a great time. There were kids running all over the place. Oh, yeah. It was great.
And you know what we didn't do?
What do we do?
We were like, hey, you kids, get off those cars. No, like they got us jump on the cars. Like, how cool is that? But yes. You all may want to check with TWRA and local sheriff's office. Reelfoot Lake has had a case come up this week, double murder and missing man. Now remember, we're not working on murders unless we know that the murderer is already in jail and no chance of them ever getting out. So you please remember that, we don't normally work on ground searches where I believe that Molly and Colt in Oklahoma. We're meeting up with Paula. We also have Jeff with the cadaver dog team that's coming in. But we do believe, I won't say we believe, but we have information that this may end up being a ground search, which is 100% not what we do, but we already committed to being there. Yeah. And so we're going to do everything we can. I'll chase through whatever brushes we have to. I just hope that you don't get eaten by wild pigs.
All right. I hope so too.
I hope I can outrun you.
Yeah. Or I could probably climb a tree pretty fast.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's a tree.
Yes. Will you be looking? Oh, let's see. I just missed that. There was something that just said, will you be looking for Dell Robinson remote? We ended up missing out on heading over to Mobile because when we went through there with Ghost Grandma, the ponds that we needed to get into for Dell were actually frozen. So we do have his granddaughter's phone number. We were in contact with her, and when we are able to arrange that at a later date, then we will look into that one more. Hey, Jared, did you get taffy from Gatlinburg? Gatlinburg. I never did get any taffy. Have you heard from Bill's wife since he was found? Well, we were with her last night. So, this is where, we've now parted ways. We now have the rest of our trip. And, she is in the knowing where Bill is at and working on her next,
Yeah, she's going through
grieving and healing.
Yeah, so she's going through her thoughts and her feelings.
Yeah. Be really careful in Odessa. I wonder why.
Why? I got people in Odessa. I got family in Odessa. Yeah. That's probably why, because my family's there.
Is that why?
Probably.
All right. Okay. So we got to watch out for your family.
Apparently.
Eric, thank you. New member, Kick, and James, all new members. Thank you very much. And Flash in your pan. Thanks, Ed.
Ed,
keep up the great work.
Good to see you, man.
Ed was with us in Nashville. Stacy Peterson. All right, now listen. Let me tell you about the Stacy Peterson one. We're not doing the Stacy Peterson one, and the reason for it is too much time has passed with Stacy Peterson. She's not in a barrel. I've spoken with Cassandra, her sister, other family members, and while there is the story of the barrel never made it into the river if she was in a barrel at one point in time in order to be moved to the river. With that also, there is a image of what could potentially and does appear to be a individual underwater in the river, but this was taken on day 2 or day 3 back when this happened years and years ago. So now what you have is, if she's been in the river for this amount of time, here's the thing. If a body has been in the river for any amount of time longer than 6 months, so up to 6 months, you have a good chance of being able to find if you're in the right place at the right time. In fact, let me just give you like the complete rundown. Would you guys like the complete rundown? Is it okay if I take a minute to give you the complete rundown of why we would choose some river and some river cases and some not, and how the rivers will work and not work? So let me just see if
people are interested. Yes, people are interested. Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
So as you know, we try to really focus on underwater vehicle search and recovery because this gives us the greatest chance that if there is a body in the vehicle, it is going to be contained within that vehicle, unless for some reason, it's been a couple of years, like a decade plus, where the rivers have really come through. And just think about sandblasting, just that sandblasting, and eventually it eats away at the metal, rips it off, and it's gone. Okay, so that's why you kind of have like a period of time depending on where it lays in the river. Now, if it's in a section of the river or a lake that's, very calm, you don't have all of that being sandblasted. You don't have the rocks coming. You don't have, logs hitting it over time. And so it's going to be preserved much better, especially the deeper it is, because there's less oxygen. The deeper it is, things will remain more intact as well for human remains. Now, so with that, now you take a body that's out of a vehicle, and let's say that somebody jumps off of a bridge. Well, here's what happens. They end up going down, they end up, sinking, and they're underwater and they're being moved with the current. So think about throwing a pop bottle, okay, in the river. And how quickly does it take that pop bottle to, move down through the river and move 100 feet or 100 yards or, a mile or two? It doesn't take much time at all. And so the same thing is happening with a body underwater as well, as it's going to be moved very quickly within that current, unless one, they get snagged on a tree or, branches or something, or, you have like the river going along, but then if there's like a deep hole, okay, then they would come along and they would like settle in this hole, and it's like a little eddy down there, and they just get hung up down there. Well, now what you have is you're going to have two different floats that end up taking place, okay? So the first float, now they're going to come out of that hole. Now they're going to end up in that current again, and they're going to be moved down the river for, maybe another 100 yards or 5 miles, or, it's hard to say because of the different, currents. How fast is the river moving? What's the temperature of it? So now the body that has now off gas the first time, and then it's eventually going to sink. Well, there's going to be a second off gassing as well. And when they do, then they have the opportunity to end up floating again. During that second time, does a boater or a passerby or does the body happen to hit the shoreline, just right and get snagged? So therefore, meaning somebody has the opportunity of accidentally stumbling across the body, being in the right place at the right time, is what it comes down to. So the thing is I don't want people being upset with us for not choosing certain cases. As an example, we have the 2 duck hunters in Mississippi. You're dealing with a river that's, let's say, it's half a mile wide or a mile wide, okay, at some sections. And so they went in not wearing life jackets, wearing waders. And so, especially wearing waders, think about, the water would have caught them, and that's, and moved them down the river. And so if you bring in a sonar boat, if you by chance you're a boat with sonar, and if by chance you're able to find them within 100 or 200 yards right away on day 1, day 2, and day 3, you have that chance of being able to locate a body in the river, especially the Mississippi River, that is not contained in a vehicle. You have that very short window. Now, if we're not able to find them, or search teams are not able to find them within the first couple of days, the second opportunity is that float. The third opportunity is that other float, and then really the fourth opportunity is if they happen to, when they did float, if they happen to be on shore and snagged on something. And so with that, you then have 6 months have passed, okay, and back on the bottom of the river is going to move, and in fact, rivers will even bury cars, okay? So you have to keep that in mind as well, that now as a body decomposes and it's covered up, there's no metal detecting gear to detect bones that are X number of feet under silt and sand. So I would love to be able to help all families and be able to give them the answers that they're looking for. But what we have is we have hundreds of documented vehicles with missing people underwater that we kind of have a chance, okay? And so for us, we can either go and swim around aimlessly in a river as divers, and sonar is not going to work, and accidentally almost never find somebody that's underwater without a vehicle. Or we can take our skills and we can focus on using the sonar and using the technology and the diving skills to locate somebody like Bill Simmons, who was underwater for 7 or 8 months, with Ethan Kazmarek that was missing for 7 years, Nathan that was underwater. So I hope that you guys kind of understand how we are focusing on what we know that we can help more families rather than less families with almost zero hope, or helping more families that we have more hope with. Francis came. Francis made it. Oh, we're so glad that.
Hey, Francis, thank you for being here.
We knew that if we talked forever and we bored these people, that they would eventually show up. So,
and here you are.
Yes. Thank you very much for showing.
I lost my phone, so I couldn't find it, and I went to the bathroom before we stopped to go to the bathroom. I put it on top of the. It's gone. So I have my iPad.
You left it in the bathroom, or you left it on top of the car?
I left it in the bathroom on top of the toilet paper holder.
And somebody stole it by the time you got back?
Well, I got home and I said, Tina, hurry, let's go back. So we went back and it was gone. But Dodge's chicken place is going to call me. They're going to run the camera and see if someone walked out after me. Because if they didn't walk out after me when I say that my phone was stolen, taken, and no one used the restroom, then I probably dropped it on the side of the bank of the lake. So if that would be good if no one went into the bathroom after myself. So then in the morning I can just go walk over there, because see this thing right here? I knocked it really hard earlier when I was walking on the side. I hit a limb over there at Lake Graham. So I probably, when I fell back from hitting that limb, I could have dropped it, but I just really don't remember. I got a lot of things on my mind for today.
Oh no, yeah, I don't remember I remember you having your phone on the bank at the lake tonight, but I don't remember you having your phone in your hand after we were talking at the end.
Yeah, it was in my pocket. So I'm really, I have a lot of things on my mind right now from, just everything. And I'm not sure if I left it on I have the habit of doing that at work, and the employees come and bring it to me. Francis, your phone. And, but I can always buy another phone. It's just has everybody's numbers.
Yeah.
Which I love this iPad because everything's backed up into this iPad. So all my messages and stuff are here. But just the ones that are valuable to me are the ones that my son last texted me. So that is what's very stressful of me losing that phone, because I saved all his texts. And I don't care about the phone. I care about the text that I last had of my son telling me he loved me and all that. So I have all pictures. I have everything backed up to this. It's just, it's those texts mean a lot to me. And that's what bothers me the most. So tomorrow I'm going to wake up early and probably walk that bank and see if I find it.
Yeah, I really hope you find it. That's tremendous.
Yeah, and do you have tracking on your phone? Do you have like anybody else on your Find My Phone or anything that they can look and see if
we tried that? And the thing is that since I share the same Apple ID as my daughter and this iPad, it's saying that I'm home and that my phone is here. So, and I have a Live 360, and it's also saying that I'm here. And Apple's giving me a hard time right now because my to get into my AT&T GoPhone account, it's usually the same number, and I gave it to them, and they're trying to text me something to my phone, and I told them I don't have my phone. So I I don't, the number is not the same. For some
Yeah.
reason, it's not going through. And they said just to go into an AT&T store,
Yeah.
where they can probably help me get into my GoPhone account.
Okay. So with your trying to find the phone, were you able to listen to anything that Mike had to say this evening? Were you on by chance?
I was on the phone. With AT&T, kind of going back and forth with him. When I popped on there, probably about 25 minutes ago, I didn't hear very much, but
Yeah, you were busy. So let me just bring you up to speed as to a few things that we have going on. One is we updated everybody today about the search, and you'll be able to go back and watch. We've been on for an hour and 20 minutes now,
Yeah.
so you'll be able to go back and watch everything that we spoke of. But the short of it is Mike says you need to make sure that you do report the vehicle is stolen, and he goes into the reasons as to why on that one. We've also put out the link down below for Profiling Evil, and there's a what's the room? Evidence room. So there's an evidence room there that we put out a if anybody is in the Jackson area that can help you from the attorney side to help you work through some of this as well. As a pro bono, we're trying to get you some help there. Okay, Francis. And then the other thing that we have going on for you tonight as well, and I'm going to ask, the viewers that are on here, we do have, your GoFundMe that you've recently set up because you've been paying on your insurance for, the last, 18 or how long has it been? 14 months? 14 or 15 months.
Quite a while.
And so,
16.
so we feel really bad that that you've been paying on that. So part of what Mike was saying is once you identify and you file your vehicle as stolen, let the insurance company know, because he says that he's had an instance of his own to where he was accidentally paying on his vehicle for a year after he had sold it, and they were kind of to honor and refund his money. So once you report it stolen, get a hold of the insurance company, let them know what your story is. Send them this link as evidence. Have them talk to Mike. Hopefully we can have an attorney that's going to come on board and help you out pro bono to help you get through some of this. But in addition to that, we know that you've had the financial burden of switching jobs and taking time off to go look for your son, as well as paying on the insurance, and you're down a vehicle as well. So there's a $5,000 goal to help Francis raise those funds. So we have corrected the link on YouTube now. We had the wrong link. So there were some funds that were sent to a different GoFundMe link for Christy Simmons, Bill's wife. But she's incredible, and she's going to bump those funds over to you in either tonight or tomorrow, okay? So you're not missing out on any of that. And we're going to do everything we can to help you raise those funds to help you with, your burden that you have right now, from the financial side of it, okay? With this, this is your time, this is your platform. We like I said, we've already shared with the viewers tonight what we've done in the area, but please take some time and share whatever information you would like tonight. Tonight's your time and your platform.
It's the same. I need to find my Jeep, to find my son. I want to focus on the Jeep, and I need everybody's eyes and ears open. And if they know anything, please say something. Don't be scared to say what you know. If you've seen my Jeep, say something. If you know anyone who's had the Jeep, or if it's parked anywhere, or who's had it, or where it's at, or where my son's at.
Yeah, I tell you, Black Jeep Liberty.
Yeah, well, that's different vendors. Oh, there you go. That.
In the license plate number, let's see if I can read it. Is 3L6617. Is that right? Tennessee?
Yes, the license plate number is 3L66T7.
And then where's the other paper? And then we have a where's the
The
other
last
paper?
6 of the VIN is 229183. I guess I'll put the same one up.
Yeah.
Probably a little blurry.
Can we go? I was looking for the other one that has with the picture or something.
This one's probably
I should go. And what is
3L6.
and Francis? What is the most recent picture of your son? You have that one? Is that
Most
the one?
recent picture?
That's on the flyer there.
Well, this is a recent one. Of my son wearing his headphones. This is a very recent one where he got his hair cut, like only like a week before he went missing at Awakenings. Devontae does his hair there at Awakenings here in Jackson, Tennessee. He's a really good friend of mine and my son's, and he actually had tried to get an appointment to get his hair cut on that Friday, but Devontae didn't have an opening that day, and he feels really bad about not being able to have an opening for Brian to come and get his hair done. And he wishes that he would have had him come in. He said, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can't take back, you know, we can't change anything. And like, I wish I would have went to work that day and he wouldn't be gone, because I would have been there. But I can't change anything that's been done. And he just gave somebody a ride, and he's no. And someone knows where he's at. Someone knows where my son is. My son did not just run away. My son would not run away. My son loved his brothers and sisters. He loves his brothers and sisters. He loves me. He loved, you know, working and making money and playing his games and being with his friends here, talking to his girlfriend on the phone and waiting for her to get a vacation so she can come back out here and she could visit. And one day, maybe her moving out here or all of us going home one day, you know? But I just had a conversation with my son, and he was not saying, I'm leaving you, I'm never going to come home. He left work that day and he went to a friend's house and he gave somebody a ride home or ride somewhere from that house, and he disappeared. And my Jeep is out there somewhere, and that Jeep is so important. It's the biggest part of this puzzle, and how to find my son, because it's probably mobile, rolling around somewhere, or maybe not, but my son definitely is not mobile right now, or he would have came home. He would have been home. He would have been here right now. And his phone was shut off, most definitely shut off completely. He wouldn't have threw his phone off. He wouldn't have shut his phone off. He wouldn't have took the battery out. He wouldn't have tossed it. It was on and it worked, and I still pay the bill. He gave me the money and put it, you know, sent it to me through Zelle, his phone payment. He never had a problem paying his phone bill. And if he didn't pay his phone bill, I'd pay his phone bill. But he never had a problem with that. He would have called us. He has Snapchat. He had Facebook. He had Tweet. He had all of these different things, you know, he would go on. He played online games. He would play with his friends. You know, if he was anywhere and didn't want to be home, then he would have been online playing a video game. He would have Snapchat someone. He would have posted a picture. He would have texted his girlfriend that he loves so much with all his heart. And he would have contacted someone. He knows how to walk. if he got a flat tire, to somebody's house and say, hey man, can you help me out? I got a flat. My car broke down. You know, he's just not going to disappear and say, oh, wait, my mom's car broke down, so she's going to be mad at me. I'm not going to go home. Stuff like that doesn't happen. It won't happen to him. He's not going to do that. He's a very responsible young man. And I mean, he worked over 40 hours a week at times. And he worked, gosh, I'm all like, my face blew up. He worked very hard in very long hours. And my managers, you know, they were always short staffed. Didn't matter. I'm not only talking about Denny's. I'm talking about when he was at IHOP and when he was at KFC, you know, and he worked very hard and he had a passion for what he did. I always told him, you want to do something different? No, he liked it being a service assistant. And it's not just washing dishes and, you know, mopping and sweeping and doing all this. It was enlightening the guests, opening the door for them, saying, good morning, how are you doing? Do you need anything? You know, he acted like he was the boss because he loved to see and make, you know, get people to smile and want them to come back. He would not just leave. There's no doubt about it. He would not just leave. He's not going to up.
And we have some questions coming in, you know, just so we can make sure that, you know, everybody has all the information. Francis, how old was Brian when he went missing?
21 years old.
Okay. And they would like to know a little bit more of, you know, Sean's house. You know, Sean's house was the last place that he was located at. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And so, you know, Sean was one of it. How long had him and Sean been friends?
My son was there less than a month. He had received his first check that Friday from Denny's. Sean was there a little longer than him because he had needed a job, and my assistant manager asked me if I would hire him as a third shift manager because we needed a third shift. And I said, you know, okay. And he came and ate once with my ex-assistant manager from IHOP and their friends. And I was like, you know, sure, I'll go ahead and do that. You know, the kid's all right. So I gave him a chance. I gave him a shot. And I mean, he knocked it out. He was a good third shift server. He never disrespected me. He's good. You know, he was good to me. And he was, you know, it's really hard to be a third shift server, to be there from 10 o'clock at night all the way till 7 o'clock in the morning. And I've had to work all day, and I used to be a server back in the day, and I know how rough it could be. But he worked there a little longer than my son, and my son didn't know him from IHOP. He knew him from Denny's, and they just started talking, I guess. And I really don't know how they exactly met. It had to be through work. But for them to start like hanging out and everything, I don't know how that happened either, you know, how they became buddies. I know Sean, he would talk to me and respect me like a mom because he would call me mom. He wasn't disrespectful to me. He'd call me Mama Francis, and I'm gonna take care of your son. And he'd make little gestures, jokes like I have to be nice to him because if not, I won't have a job, you know. And that I wouldn't fire him if he was, you know, rude or mean to my son. Do your job and just knock it out. Be good to the guests, and that's all that mattered. And that day, the day before, he was at my house, and I was kind of shocked because I was like, I didn't know he knew where I lived, and my son brought him over here to my house on that Thursday. Okay, Friday you went missing. The day before, yes, text me and said, where you at? And I said, I'm still at work. He said, well, we're here at the house, at your house. And I go, well, I'm on my way home. I'll be going home. When I get there, I'm going to probably be pretty tired. Said, okay, we're just checking on you because, of course, like I said, I was losing someone very close to me at that time. She was on her, she's like a mother to me. And she's always been there for me. And she's my son's, Brian's godmother, and my oldest daughter's godmother, and Brian's sister. My first three children, she's the godmother to them. So she slipped and fell and hemorrhaged from the back of her head. And she was lying at the hospital in California. And they were debating on whether to pull the plug. And they did pull the plug on that Monday. But I was home and I was very, worked up about it. And my son, I talked to him earlier that day, and I was like, Brian, you need to hurry up and come home. And he said he was on his way home and he knew why I needed him to come home, and he didn't show up. So I didn't go to work because of that, because I was not handling that situation right. But Brian did go to work, and he said that if I would have went to work, that it would have been a lot better, because Antonina, which is the one that I said is like a mom to me. I do have a mom. I have a biological mom, and I love her. This other woman was like a mother to me, because she was there for me and for my children. And I miss her. Just thinking about her right now, her ashes are in my room. My son told me, just work hard, Mom, because that's what Antonina would want. She would want you to just work hard. She believes in you, and you got to do this. You got to just focus and don't take the day off. Come to work. And I didn't. And he got, I guess, that text from Sean to go to his house. And he went to his house. I don't know what happened from there, and I'm not trying to accuse anybody of anything. I just know that these are the things that happen according to phone messages and everything, and actual texts, that he was invited to come over. And from there, he came over because my son wanted to buy some weed, and he said he was going to dap him up, and he did. And I guess a lot more happened after that. He not only got dapped up, but he got dapped away because he never came back home. And I do understand that people think that I'm accusing, and I'm not accusing. I'm not accusing Sean of hurting my son or killing my son. Did he take part of it? I don't know. Did he take part in it? I have no idea. Did Keenan Murphy kill my son? I know he killed other people, and I know he was on the run from killing someone on the 25th, and my son was there on the 27th, and this kid needed to get somewhere. I guess you would say that what I feel like is that my son was invited to come over. He was impaired, of course, from smoking so much of whatever it was, to lose the ability to make the right choice. And he trusted, and he was relaxed and humble about it, and he thought everything was okay because he was around someone that he trusted, which is the person that invited him to come over. And he came over. And when he left with the other person, which is Keenan Murphy, he was never seen again. But I spoke to my son before his phone went and it was shut off, completely shut off. After I spoke to him, and he repeats my conversation with my son that I had with my son. So how can I not feel and think that this person had something to do with my son's disappearance and knows where my son is if he was able to repeat a conversation that I had with my son and then his phone goes off? It pings around the area where he disappeared, his phone did, but I don't know where my son is. Where's the Jeep? Where did my Jeep go? Where did my son go? I don't know who did what to him, but why couldn't you just take the Jeep? Why couldn't you just throw my son out of it? Take the Jeep. Why did you have to take my son? There was no reason. And my son is not out walking anywhere. He didn't run away anywhere. You should have just took the Jeep. My son never hurt anybody. He was very happy. Go get him. Acting silly, goofy dance. Wait for mom to cook something good for him. Cheer mom up. It's gonna be all right, mom. Everything's gonna be all right. Think positive, mom. This is a bad place, mom. We don't need to be around this place. We're gonna save up and we're gonna get out of here. But I will not leave you here, mom. I will not, because I love you and I love my sisters and I love my brothers, and I know that together we can just get out of this place. And he would tell me, Jackson is not a good place. And I said, Brian, if we went to California a couple of times, we wouldn't be able to live in a house like this, big house like this. We're going to be crammed into a little apartment, you know? He said, it's not good out there anymore. We don't belong here. And he missed his aunts and his uncles and his cousins, and he grew up going to Disneyland every weekend, going to his godmother's house, his Aunt Nina's house every weekend, and us cooking out at my sister's house and going to birthdays and hitting piñatas and hiding eggs on Easter and everything, you know. 12, 13 years old, he was still kind of playing with his little wrestling men. And when somebody tells me that my son ran away, you don't know my son. He wouldn't just run away. My son is my best friend. He would see me in the car, in the driveway, when I wouldn't come in after work, and I'd be sitting in there having the car run with the air on and listening to my music, because a lot of times when you get out of work and you deal with a frustrating day, you just want to just have some time to yourself and just collect yourself and just calm down before you walk into the house, because you don't want to take work in the house with you. And I did that. And who would I have open up my passenger door and just slide right in to sit next to mom? Brian. How you doing, mom? And if he knew that I didn't really want to talk, he'd sit there, he'd put his earbuds on, and he would just sit back with me. And then he would put a certain song on and say, this is your song, or you want to sing some karaoke in the car or something like that. And he'd try to get a smile on my face, and he always succeeded. It was always good at the end of the day, and I'd get out of the car and we'd go in the house and then sit right there. Or he'd say, Mom, I have something for you in the fridge. What is it? A Chelada. He knows I love my Chelada Bud Light. And he'd have a Chelada Bud Light in there, 24 ounce. He'd have that. And he would think about me, little things like that. Just, he knew how to put a smile on my face. He wouldn't leave me. He wouldn't leave me, Lisa.
Yeah, and I don't believe that he did leave you. You know, because we've spoken with Mike, we've spoken with the chief as well. and the vehicle is not shown up anywhere. It's not shown up on license plate readers. Wait for them to come back. Does somebody have any questions you need to ask her? I appreciate you guys being here for as
I
long as you are.
apologize.
But
No
never
problem.
apologize, okay? You're okay. If you had barking dogs or crying children, it wouldn't matter, Francis. So we're here for you tonight, okay? So you know what we ended up doing today. You were there for some of the conversations with the chief as well as with the other search teams. Right now we have as far as the water search goes, there's only one more area of interest that we're aware of right now, and that's the pig farm. And so right now it sounds like that the West Tennessee dive team as well as the chief is going to be working with getting permission for that in the next couple of days. So by Friday or Saturday, we will be able to have that final answer for you as to the answers is Brian in the pig farm property. From there, my hope is that we're going to have those answers for you soon. That hey, Brian's been found, but if he's not found, this weekend at this location, where does this go from here? What can we do to offer you additional assistance? What can our viewers do to step in to help you out? Above and beyond what we've already discussed this evening with trying to help get you an attorney pro bono and the GoFundMe that we have in the description down below.
I pretty much go with the flow, and I'm trying to play with the deck of cards that I've been dealt. I don't know if I worded that right. Every day I wake up, I go to work. When my days off come, I have to go search for my son. I'm just trying to just go pretty much with whatever God gives me. If I have someone willing to help me, I'm lucky for that, because it doesn't always happen. Everybody has their own lives, and my son is my responsibility. It's not their responsibility. He's not their responsibility. He's mine. Even though they say he's an adult, oh my gosh, he's grown. He's 21 years old. He can do whatever he wants. He is my baby to the end of my days, and that's it. All of my children are my babies. They're your children are your babies to the day you go. But the child's not supposed to go before the parent. All I can ask is that everybody keeps their eyes out and finds a Jeep or sees something out of what's the word? Out of the ordinary, and makes that call. And if they see me trampling through the woods, don't shoot me. Bear with me. I'm looking for my son. I'm handing you a flyer. I'm looking for my son. And I don't know what tomorrow brings. I'm grateful that you came in. I'm grateful for the other dive team. I'm grateful for the advocates that have come my way, and it's got me this far. I mean, I've came a long way, but I still feel like I'm so far from finding him, because everybody, there's people that give me hope and false hope and stories, and you try to put all of those stories together, and some of them don't make sense.
And here's a question. I mean, a lot of the viewers want to reach out and help you as well, Francis. And do you have a phone number, an email, or how would you like people to get a hold of you to that they want to come to the area and help offer their help? One thing I heard you say is you're trudging. Please don't shoot me as I'm trudging through, and I want to, give you a folder as I'm looking for my son. I know a lot of our viewers also have drones that are in the area, so maybe some of them can reach out to you as well to put drones up in the air and help out with these ground searches as well, because he may not be underwater. The Jeep may not be underwater. Right now we don't even know if Brian is with the Jeep. There's so many unknowns with this one. So tonight we want to help you in any way we can. And like you said, what is the best way that people can reach out to you directly in support of helping you?
Well, I put my phone number out there a long time ago, and it was the biggest mistake that I did, because I started getting ransoms that everybody had my son. There's so many people, and there's weirdos out there, and they call or they text me and told me a lot of gruesome, ugly things that they were doing to my son. So I would never do that. But I do have a Facebook, and people do reach out to me on Facebook and go to my messenger, and you could go under searching for William. If I had my phone, I would be able to show you. But if you go on Facebook on searching for Brian McKenzie, he has a page, and you can message me through there. It's searching for Brian McKenzie.
And if one of the mods can drop that in the description down below, that's going to be over on Facebook. So I'm sorry, over on YouTube. So if you're on Facebook, we apologize that we're actually modding over on YouTube. So searching for Brian McKenzie.
Yes,
You
there's two of them. There's searching for Brian McKenzie, and there's searching for Brian McKenzie, and
Okay.
Or look me up, Francis Helen Gaines, and message me, and I will snapshot his page, and I can add you, and you can walk with me while I do my lives too when I'm searching, and you could see my experiences. You can share your prayers, and send messages if you like. Talk me up, keep me encouraged. I appreciate it. It's really hard to keep it together sometimes, but I have to, because I have a family to take care of. Like I said, I'm the sole provider for my family. I have other little ones in the house. I have my husband that stays home and he takes care of the kids. I have to keep my job, so I have to keep my composure, and I cannot just react on every little small thing that people come to me and they tell me, or I'd go stir crazy and insane. I have to think before, I do something after someone tells me, well, I think I've seen this, or I think I've seen that, or I know this. I have to really sit down and I have to think about it before I start just jumping in my car to go look for him. Because
and one other thing I want to point out on this also, you'd mentioned that there's a lot of crappy people out there, that your phone number was out there, and a lot of scam artists. I understand that you've had. Can you even count the number of scam artists that have reached out to you and telling you, hey, we have this information, but you have to pay me, or share, if you don't mind sharing some of those stories with us? That
I went to the detective's office a few times where they had to help me out because I was hysterical, and they would try to find out where these texts were coming from, with IP, and it were coming from Nigeria or New York, or just different places, and they would Photoshop my son's face with duct tape on his mouth and saying they were shooting him up with heroin, and that I needed to send them thousands of dollars, or then $100 on a gift card, or $50. And it was just becoming, I'll drop your son off at the nearest hospital or the gas station, and if you send me some money on this gift card, and you think I'm, making things up, I'll show you right now. And I would just be like, let me hear my son. Let me talk to him and I'll believe you. Or let me see a picture of, let me see him. Let me actually see him, take an actual picture of him. And that's what they would send me. Or they would try to, talk around what, what I was asking so that I can just be convinced that they had my son. And I was not easily convinced at the end of the day after my detective kind of proved to me that these people were just, scam artists and they did this for a living, that they go through people's Facebooks and social media and finds out who's missing who and who's mourning who, and then they start stalking you and telling you that they want money. Sorry, my husband just came in. He's getting something.
Yeah,
Oh, no worries.
No worries at all. So here's where we need to, wrap this up for you this evening, Francis. We do have
Thank you.
we do have a lot of good viewers that are out here that are not scam artists. So, if some of you can start reaching out and, lend assistance to Francis via the Facebook, group that she has here. And Francis, if you have any questions that, they say, oh, I'm a mod of Jared's or whatever, reach out to me and ask me. I know which ones are the good ones, and normally we get rid of the bad ones. So if you need any help in screening them and making sure that we get the right ones to you, please do let me know on that one. And through this also, we have the evidence room over there with Mike. Reaching out to Mike as well for the attorney. Hopefully we'll be able to get you one over there. And then I do know, and I've seen that the fundraiser for you on GoFundMe also has been increasing this evening as well. So, right now we're putting this out there for you, and like I said, we have the one more piece of property or the one more piece of land that needs to be searched. I hope that some of the viewers tonight will reach out to you to, come walk with you. You put that invitation out there for them to walk with you. Be safe with that though. Francis, make sure that you screen them properly and that you meet meet at a public place where there's cameras to begin with, so there's evidence. Should somebody not be the right person, but be smart, be safe. And it sounds like you've been really smart through this as well, with making sure that you go to the detective when you suspect something in the scammers. And there's unfortunately there's a lot of crappy people out there, but the amazing people and the support that we have here. I mean, we have less than 1% that's like terrible mean people. The other 99% of them are amazing people, and I know that they're really going to help you through this, Francis. Okay?
Yes. I don't have any fear. My only fear is never finding my son. And when I'm walking through the woods or I'm walking up and down up the street or driving around, I don't fear anybody. I'm not scared of somebody hurting me. They're not. It's not going to happen. I pray every single day, and I think that people want me to I think they want me to fear going out there looking for my son. They want to put that in my head that, oh, this is going to happen to you, this is going to happen to you, and get me to not look for my son and to be scared of something happening to me so that I don't find my son. When I go out there and I'm in the woods or I'm going down the rough part of the neighborhood, I don't have any fear whatsoever. I have plenty of mace with me. I have my magic fork that helps me cut through the woods.
I was telling everybody about your magic fork tonight. I didn't tell them that you use it as a weapon, but I told them that you were doing good with it as well, and you're cleaning up garbage at the same time that you're out there. You're strong.
I want you to know I'm not scared going out there. I'm very respectful to everyone when I do approach them. I'm not mean or anything. And most of the people that I do come across, even when I'm in the bad areas, they're very respectful to me too. And I show them a picture, I give them my story, and they give me their stories. And if I feel like it's not the right person to be approaching and they don't want to be approached, then they're not approachable, then I'm going to back off. So, you know, and I treat people accordingly. So
Yeah.
I'm not scared. I want them all to know that I just want to find my son. I'm doing it all for my son. I need to bring him home. I want to bring him home. If anybody out there knows where he's at or where the Jeep is, just help me out. Just give us closure. Give his sisters and brothers closure. Just be the hero. Please. You don't have to walk with me through the woods. You can walk with me on my videos and just see what I do. And the ones that do know, grow some remorse. Feel my agony. It is painful. I have to sleep at night, and when I close my eyes, before I close my eyes, I think of my son. And when I wake up in the morning, I think of my son. And if you know anything, I pray that you see my son's face when you close your eyes at night, and when you open your eyes in the morning, that you see my son. And then you make that phone call anonymously. You know where that Jeep is or where it's been. Just say something. Just say where the Jeep's at. That's it. Say where you've seen it or who's had it. I won't tell nobody. Please. I need my son home.
Yeah,
Let me sleep.
So, you know, so somebody out there knows something for sure, you know. Reach out to Frances, you know, help her out in the meantime. And that's what, you know, we're using this for, is, you know, to help spread awareness. So, Frances, we're going to swing by in a few minutes and, you know, have a few more words with you. We will need to be hitting the road soon as well. I mean, it's 9:30 at night here, and we do need to get over to another piece in the morning as well. But I wish that there was more that we could do for you while we're in town. But, you know, at this point, you know, we've done, you know, what we can to really help you spread the message here. Okay. So we'll come have a private conversation with you. Okay.
We'll see you in a few minutes.
Safe travel. We'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, Frances? All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut her off. She was saying thank you at the very end.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm sorry, Frances. Thank you, everybody. I mean, it's definitely been a long day of searching for us, and, you know, the things that we've been doing the entire week, and we're not done yet. So again, we appreciate everybody being here tonight. Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Dan's awake again. Dan doesn't know that we were showing him off while he was sleeping.
Yeah,
but
see, Dan already got a full sleep.
Yes,
or a nap. He got a nap. He woke up and he got right back to work.
Yeah. So, thank you for being here tonight. We're gonna go chat with Frances for a bit, and then we're gonna hit the road. So, we don't know when we'll be doing the next live stream.
Nope.
We'll have a video out on Friday for everybody, and thank you for everybody that's here supporting everything we're doing. So, on that note, have a good night. Bye-bye.
Good night, guys. Thanks for watching.